Hello and welcome to the Keep It Local Maine podcast, where we tell the stories of local business owners and Maine residents and learn more about what they do, who and what inspires them, their challenges, successes, and more. My name is Todd Regalinski.
And I am Kimberly Regalinski.
And we are the publishers of Keep It Local Maine, a local magazine that helps showcase local businesses to the people in and around their communities. Thank you for tuning in to our weekly podcast that you can subscribe to on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can learn more about us at keepitLocalMaine.com and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through the links in the show notes. This episode is sponsored by the Fletcher Group at Keller Williams Realty, a veteran-owned and operated real estate group offering services in all aspects of the real estate market. The Fletcher Group has been serving Maine since 1997 and specializes in commercial sales and leasing, residential sales, commercial and residential development, and investment properties of all kinds. Their entire team philosophy is built upon honesty and integrity with the belief that their fiduciary responsibility is to their client's checkbook and not their own. As a local Maine business, they work hard serving their communities and will be honored to serve all your real estate needs. Give them a call at 207-805-3233 or visit them online or follow them on social media in the links in the show notes. In this episode, we'll be talking with designer and entrepreneur Alaina Marie. Born and raised off the coast of Maine, Alaina's surroundings have always been her source of inspiration. Established in 2013, AM is now known for its iconic mesh handbags, which are inspired by a lobsterman's bait bag and are also made using the same marine-grade materials. Her mission is to spread color not only in your wardrobe, but in your world. She has worked diligently to perfect her products so that each handbag is durable, authentic, and ready to go wherever life takes you.
Welcome to the show, Alaina. We are so glad to have you here today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I'm so excited about this because I love her products, and I love
know
her,
that you love her products.
And I love her store, and so I can't wait to dig in. So you recently said on Facebook that there's so much beauty and inspiration in everyday living.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share the story of how you started your brand and really what the inspiration for that was with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started in 2013 is really when, the spark kind of got ignited. And just like way back. So like just a little bit about me. I just remember so instinctively, like in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to start my own business. I wanted my own thing. I wanted it so badly. I wanted just something to call my own. And again, I didn't know what that would be, but I thought, well, let me just get through these 4 years and I'll study something that I love to do, which was art and design. And I did minor in entrepreneurship just because I wanted something in my back pocket. So that's kind of how everything got started for me. And yeah, so looking back, graduate from college, still don't know what I want to do. And for me, I tend to overthink things like who doesn't? I'm always like in my head, like, oh, I'm trying so hard to like, what can I do to start a business and what kind of product can I make? Or, maybe I can sell my artwork. I don't know. I was just kind of starting from scratch here. But honestly, one day I had come across a bait bag, so an actual lobsterman's bait bag, and it was a bright neon coral color. And I love bright colors. So I was instantly drawn to it. And I was like, what is this? And it just intrigued me. So I was using it for just like toiletries and nail polish and just like, it's a little mesh bag with like a Velcro top. And I just love the color, and it had a grommet in the top. So I thought that was like cool, but it's actually like a bait bag, which is what the lobstermen use to put chum in and put them in the lobster trap to catch lobsters. Yeah. So what an unexpected thing. But honestly, the second I stopped trying so hard to think of like what to do, it just kind of came to me. I know that's so cliche, but it truly did. It just hit me. I was like, this is such a cool bag. I love it. I love opening it, picking it up. What if I redesigned it and made it a little more fashion forward? And so that's what I did. I, through my art degrees and just myself, I've always been creative. I loved crafting and doing projects. So I've got like a whole toolbox, if you will, full of like skills that I've acquired. So I like to sew. I taught myself how to screen print. I do, digital design, all that kind of stuff. So I really kind of married all those things, and I recreated the bag into my version of a bait bag. So put a zipper in, I screen printed a design on the front, took the grommet, repositioned it, and made it literally the very first one I made still looks very much like my line of heritage clutches today. It's got the iconic, strip down the middle, grommet on the top, mesh bag. So anyway, that's what I kind of mean by that. So, I love taking something unexpected and redefining it or reinventing it in an unexpected way. So, for example, the bait bag, that's exactly what I did there. So if you just look at like the simple things in life that you would overpass, like a bag you put chum in, just pause for a minute and just think on it, and it can be turned into something beautiful.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just love the whole, entrepreneurial spirit. So, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and, what advice would you give to someone that is thinking of starting a business? What's, maybe one piece of advice that you would give?
Yeah. Honestly, just do it. Just jump
Yeah.
in. Do
Yep.
not overthink it. Like if you sit and say, okay, I'm going to create this business plan and make this perfect product and do all my, research and design, which don't get me wrong, it's important to, do some of that before you invest a lot of money or waste a bunch of time. But honestly, just do it. Oh, what's that saying? It's like done is better than perfect or something. I love that
Oh
saying because
yeah.
it's so true.
Well, a
I
variation
think
of
I'm
that is don't let. Oh shoot!
I know,
Don't
we
let
just
don't
heard that.
let great be the enemy of good
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, same thing along those lines. Just like
Yeah.
don't just do it. Like don't be
Yeah.
afraid. Everybody is gonna, fall once or twice.
Right.
But that's just the natural process of it. And every time you fall is just gonna make you stronger and you're gonna learn stuff from it. I have fallen so many times, but I've learned so much. And I
Mhm.
honestly wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't push through all those things. So the tenacity and just the drive
Mhm.
is so important. But honestly, best advice is to just start, just do it. And
Yeah.
it'll evolve naturally. If you're doing something that you're genuinely pouring yourself into and working really hard, that's all you need. The rest will just
Exactly.
kind of fall into place.
Yep.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was getting very very upset with Kim because I thought she was stealing my follow up question, but I think I can still make it work, and I'm going to shoehorn it even if it doesn't, because I really identify with a part of your story about having this toolbox of skills, because this is
Hmm.
something that I've liked talking about with other guests that we've had,
Mm.
because I feel that very keenly myself, because I
Yeah.
don't feel like I ever studied for one
Yep.
particular career. I've just kind of accumulated all these skills, and then I find where they fit as I go along,
Mhm.
Yes.
So what I would ask is what advice would you give to someone who is in your position in or just after college, when you're like, I know I kind of want to do something, but I'm not sure
Hmm.
what advice would you give to somebody to kind of maybe help organize thoughts, or to give some sort of direction or process for them to kind of work through that?
Yeah. I guess really ask yourself, like, what is it you want to do every day, or what is it that you love to do? Because if you're
Mhm.
thinking to, looking to create a living for yourself,
Mhm.
it's that could be a very long time of doing something monotonous every single day. So
Mhm.
it's so important, if you're fortunate enough to hone in on a skill or something that you are truly passionate about. And
Yeah.
everybody has something,
Uh-huh.
everybody's born with a passion of some sort. Just hone in on that, and honestly, you can make it if you are willing to put the work in and have the drive. You can live a life that you want, and I feel so fortunate that I am able to do that. But yeah, hone in on what you love to do, and
Mm.
whether that's finding a mentor who kind of does what you like to do,
Yeah.
or just starting to do something on your own, DIY, figuring it out. The internet is such an amazing tool. You can
Mhm.
literally teach yourself how to do anything. So,
Mm.
if you can just kind of like sketch out some sort of idea, take your passion
Mhm.
and maybe think of, three things that can I make a product? Can I provide a service? Can I
Mhm.
create something that's like a subscription? There's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, just start there. Start with what you like and kind of work backwards. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm just so passionate about you're doing things yourself. It's
Mhm.
not an easy road, but it's such a rewarding road. It can be,
Yeah.
just to wake up every day and do something that you really like to do. And whether maybe it's not working for yourself or having your own business, but do an internship, study under somebody who's doing something that, gets you excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's like a really great place to start. And
Yep.
if you just stick with it, I think everything these days is, instant gratification, or you want an instant product.
Right.
Everything, like, you buy something on Amazon and it's there the next day. It's
Hmm.
just such a cultural thing now, which is awesome. But I think something like this, you want to carve your own path in life.
Hmm.
Just be patient. It's not going to happen
Hmm.
overnight. You're not going to start a business and then all of a sudden be like, all right, I'm, a success story. It could take years, but
Right.
the point I'm trying to make is, if you're really truly passionate and doing something that you're meant to do, it will pay off.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So true. I think as
Yeah.
hard as you wanna work too, it makes a difference. It's just it's
100%.
having that consistency. It's like,
Yes,
if you're like you said, if you're passionate about something, you're gonna put the hard work in. And
exactly.
yes, there's blood, sweat, and tears along the way, but
Hmm.
it's worth it when you can create something that you are proud of and that
Yes,
you can see the quality of it. And
yes.
that's just I love that. So what would you say is what's your design process like when, designing a bag?
Okay, so I've definitely refined it over these past 8 years. At
Mhm.
first, to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just doing what I felt was natural and what
Yep.
I like to do. So my design process was kind of all over the place, but it literally just starts with like a spark, like inspiration. So it can be
Mhm.
anything from, I don't know, a piece of architecture that I am inspired by the shapes, or, anything from that to like a color palette that I see in a magazine. So I take that bit of inspiration, whether it's an image, a feeling, a place, and I start there. So I'm very tactile. So I
Mhm.
love magazines and Pinterest and just getting like visuals, paint chips. I like colors. I love
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I take an object and I have a mood board. So I usually have a mood board for the year, and it
Mhm.
kind of just like evolves over time. It's something that I'm constantly just working and refining and sculpting and taking away, adding to. So that's where I start with the whole
Mhm.
process. And then what I've developed is I use something I call it's a line plan tool.
Mhm.
So what that does for me is, so my brain, I'm very right side. So like very creative. I struggle with the business side and the
Mhm.
organization and the focus. I'm very
Mhm.
ADD. My creativity just kind of takes over.
Mhm.
I'm all over the place. So once I get the mood board's like my place to just dump everything, and then
Yep.
when I'm ready to like refine something, I sit down. I use the line plan tool, and I just plug in things. So like, for example, what that kind of looks like, I literally have it right in front of me. I go off of past seasons of lines that I've done. So I take products that have sold really well and color palettes that have sold really well, and I refresh some of those like best sellers. And then I have a couple categories that are my test subjects. So that comes
Mhm.
from the mood board, and it's where my design and new products come into play. So
Mhm.
that tool is awesome. And every season I refine it and refine it and refine it, so it's catered to my brand, and my
Mhm.
process, but it's super helpful for me. But that's kind of how I
That's so
get
cool.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course like R&D. I love like I said, I'm very tactile. So when it comes to the actual designing, like I love days where I just have a bunch of scrap material and my scissors and my sewing machine, and I just play, and I just
Mhm.
play with different patterns, different types of bag shapes, styles, stuff like that. And I'm very cautious of, like, my current line is pretty straightforward and standard.
Mhm.
I don't come out with new styles very often because I really like to work through things. So if I create like a new style of bag and have it in my vault, if you will, for
Mhm.
3 years, and
Mhm.
I'll come back to it and I'll revisit it. But if
Mhm.
I'm going to launch something to market, I really want to make sure it's done very well. I want to make sure
Mhm.
the quality upholds. I want to make sure it doesn't break or fall apart, because I just want to, enforce the fact that my brand is high quality and handmade,
Yeah.
and I want people to recognize that and to come back if they want to come back, know that they're getting a good product.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
essentially, you're kind of like the Prince of bags.
Yes. Yes.
For the
Exactly.
for those who don't know, the musician Prince was infamous for having a vault of
I
stuff
love
that
it.
he just would
Yep.
make. He would make an entire
Yep.
album fully
Yeah.
produced and then just put it in
Yes.
the
That's
vault. It would never
right.
get
Oh
released. So
my
this,
gosh, that is so me. Yes,
It's
I
true.
have so many. If people could see like my studio, oh my gosh, I like they call them my little tidbits. That's exactly what I do, and
Yeah.
I squirrel them away. I hide them. I tuck them. Just because, on a rainy day or when I'm creating a new line, I love going to that for inspiration. If I get stuck on something and I'm like,
Yep.
oh my
Mm.
God, now I've created, I've got the perfect color palette, but I need the bag, to dress it up with. So,
Yeah.
what do I do with that? And boom, that's how it happens.
That's so
So
cool.
patience.
do you find yourself kind of like going back and it's almost like rediscovering those things? Like
Yes,
you
yes.
almost forget that it was there. You're like, oh
Yep.
my gosh, that's really
Yep.
cool. Who did that? Oh wait, I did.
Yep,
Yeah.
I literally just did that yesterday. I have a design drawer full of just like ideas written down. It's kind of like
Mhm.
what doesn't make it to the mood board goes into a file. And I went through that and organized it all yesterday. And it was like Christmas. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. And I'm gonna put this
Awesome.
one for next year's board. Yeah. So it's really fun. I love to do stuff like that.
So cool.
Yeah.
Now, is the design bar, is this sort of like an experience that other people can have?
Yes.
And
Yes,
because
I am
that.
so excited about this. Yeah.
Yes.
that is a really cool
So
idea.
tell us
So
about
it's
that.
like,
So tell us,
Thank you.
yeah,
So that's exactly what I was just talking about, that spark that I get. Like, I'm excited even talking about it because that is what gets me up in the morning. I absolutely love designing and creating. It's like in my DNA. I get so excited when I'm creating something and I'm done with it, like with a project. It's so gratifying to see something that starts in your head and is now an actual product or finished
Mhm.
design or piece of art. So I wanted to, if I could in some way instill and share that feeling with other
Mm.
people, aka my customers. So
Mhm.
the design bar is something I wanted to do for about 3 years now, 2 to 3 years, and it
Mhm.
all started with in my store. So we obviously make all of our products. I make them by hand. Always has been like that. And so it's very easy for me to customize things.
Mhm.
So we do
Mhm.
small batch items, and I'd get customers who would be like, "Oh my God, I love this bag, but can you do it with this color strip down the middle, or can we do silver hardware instead of the gold?" And I'm like, "Of course, I'll just put in a custom order for you, and we'll make it up, and we'll call you when it's ready." So instead of standing in the middle of the store doing that, in the air, I was like, what if I created an experience so that people could come in, they could sit down in a relaxed way. When you sit at the bar, you'll get a bento box in front of you. And it's literally like, if you've ever had sushi, go out
Mhm.
to eat, it's a bento box. And they're like, it's a stacked box of little compartments and things. And they've got all of my swatches, all of my hardwares, like zipper samples. So everything that I use to design when I'm putting things together on the mood board, you have your own little mini design bento box in front of you.
Love
So you
that.
come sit at the bar, yeah, and you can start from scratch. And so you pick your style. We've got 6 different styles of bag to choose from. So you pick your bag style, and then you sit down and you design it. So you pull from the bento box and pick all your colors, all your trims, your hardwares, your finishes, and you can create your own bag. So yeah, I wanted to make that an experience because that's my favorite part of my job. So if I could share that with
That's
other
so cool.
people, yeah, and have them create a bag that they really love, and they also like when they pick up their bag, they remember that experience that they had a part in it. I think that's
For
so
sure.
so cool. So yeah, that was kind of the start of the bag bar.
Nice.
And we actually did that. We actually are going to be giving away a bag that we had done at your design bar
Oh,
a while
awesome!
back ago.
We,
And
So
I love how
fun.
you're
we will,
including me in this, but you
really
don't really have
me,
to. That was all you.
really me, with our colors of our brand. It was
I
awesome
love it.
that experience. But what I imagine is this is so cool. This would be good for like birthday parties, for bridal
Yes.
showers,
Yep.
for,
Totally.
something memorable. It's such a memorable experience of you getting
Exactly.
your friends, your girlfriends together and to create something unique.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
just so cool. I love that. I love that you give that experience to people.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's all about, bringing community together, and like you said, like girls' night out, it's an opportunity for everybody to get together, have a great time, and get a great product out of it too. So it's a
Yeah,
win-win.
love it.
Yeah. So, what have been some of the most exciting moments for you in this business and in your career as a whole?
Yeah. So I think very early on, like I hadn't even been doing this for a year. I got an email from a buyer from anthropology, and at first I overlooked it. I didn't even think it was real. I thought it was spam, but I did a little bit of research. Like I totally stalked this girl and like found her on. I ended up finding her on LinkedIn, and sure enough, she was a buyer for anthropology. I was like, oh my gosh, how'd she even find me? Like this is amazing. So that was, I think, the very first
Wow.
moment that I was like, okay, this isn't just a hobby. I'm not just making these on
Mm,
the side. This is like a real thing. And I'm a brand now. Like this is amazing. So that was
mm.
the my first memory of like super exciting. That was a super exciting moment. Other than the very first moment was when I first started making these, my first customer, that was
Mhm.
the initial exciting moment that I had. Like
Yeah.
when I had somebody who actually gave me money in exchange for something that I made, I was like, okay, this is so cool. I want to do this again and again and again. So
Mm.
that and then anthropology, that was huge exposure for me, and it kind of jet set me. I had to figure things out fast. I was
Yeah.
making these bags in our spare bedroom, and it was just me. I had one sewing machine. So their initial order was like, I think it was like 1,500 mini
Wow.
clutches. Yeah. And I was like, I have a hard time making like four in a day. So I had to figure things out really fast. So I gathered everybody I knew. I ended up hiring my first hire, and we just literally 7 days a week, like 12 hours a day, busted through to get this order done. And it was the most grueling, but it was the most rewarding after. When we finished that, when we packed everything up and labeled it and shipped it out, I was like, okay, now we can celebrate. This is amazing.
That is
So that was,
phenomenal.
yeah, that was a huge pivot, and a huge milestone for me, the first one. And then another big account we got was J. Crew. We got to make bags for them. That was hugely exciting. Yeah,
Mm.
and that also it just put me on the map too. It really
Mhm.
was great exposure for me locally and nationally. So that, and then the other thing I have to say is opening my store in the Old Port. To me, that was like my very first store. Like the fact that I
Mm.
was able to have my own boutique in the Old Port was like huge. I was like, okay, I can die happy now. Like this is amazing. I was
That's
so
amazing.
proud of that. Yeah,
That's so
so those
cool.
are great milestones for me, and those are the exciting moments that make
Yeah.
me keep on doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, I mean, and I imagine just, all of us as business owners, we also have those times where, we face challenges. What are some of the
Mhm.
kind of biggest challenges that you faced and how did you deal with them?
Yeah. Oh, there's been so many. Let's see here. Oh gosh, I'm like, where do I even start? I think overall, like a big general challenge for me is, like I said early on, balancing the business side and the design side is
Yep.
something that I still struggle with, and I probably will for the rest of my life, just because that's how I'm wired. I'm more the
Mhm.
creative, but at the end of the day, like it's great to make something, but I am running a business, so I have to be really strict with myself, and
Mhm.
I've gotten better with, like I said, making that line plan tool has been huge. So I've started to really create every element of my business has a system or needs to have a system. So developing systems helps me balance that out. But that's definitely a challenge, is just balancing the two.
So
Another
cool.
challenge for me has been, I have a hard time relying on other people. Like I'm very independent, and I'm very much like, oh, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. I
Mhm.
can do it myself. But to be truthful, like there's no way I could. I can grow my business if I don't have help. So letting go a little bit
Yeah.
is something that I struggle with for
Yep.
sure. And, I'm the first to admit it. So,
It's so true. It's
yeah.
those are, as business owners, you do, and I think you hear that a lot, and it's awesome that you can, see, okay, these are my strengths, and
hmm
these are my weaknesses. So how do I balance those two? So it's so cool that you can see that,
Yeah,
and make a plan to deal with the weaknesses and stay in the lane where your strengths are.
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely. No, 100%.
So one of the questions that we usually like to ask here, because these are highly interesting to us, and we hope they're interesting to listeners. How do you define success, either personally or professionally or both?
Oh gosh. Okay. So success to me is, I think if you're able to get up every day and do something that you love
Mm,
to do, I think
mhm.
that to me is success. I feel very fortunate that I get to do that. So yeah, I do feel successful in the fact that I get to genuinely do what I love to do. It's not easy, but it's so rewarding. Like, I can't say that enough.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's definitely
so
what
cool.
comes to mind when I think of like success.
That's amazing. So, we are inspiration junkies. So,
Mhm.
we we feel like we're just inspired every time we have a guest on the show. We like to know, what is it that inspires you? Who or what inspires you?
Well, let's see here. I'm always finding like tidbits of inspiration, but I think one of the biggest things that is inspirational for me to keep doing what I do, other than the fact that I love to create, is my customers.
Hmm.
Seeing my customers
Mm,
love my product, wear my product, use my product. They honestly, to me, they bring my product to life. So that
mm.
is, I think, my biggest source of inspiration in my business.
That's so cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
imagine that's just gonna feel just amazing.
right.
Well, Lena, thank you so much for taking time to spend with us here,
Yes,
talking and sharing
this has
about
been
your
awesome.
business, and also just about your process and what you do. Because I think it really is inspiring for other people. I would have found it inspiring to 20-year-old me, like hearing the story of someone who
Aw.
was very much in a spot like where you were, like, oh, I
Yep.
kind of think I know I want to do something. I'm not
Mhm.
sure what,
Yeah,
but we really appreciate you taking the time to
absolutely.
share that with people, and also just to share your passion
Hmm.
with the design bar and everything that you do. And we'll be sure to include links to your website,
Hmm.
Yeah.
as well as social media and all that, so people can really learn more about what you do and also see the fantastic products that you produce,
Hmm.
which
For
are
sure.
just
Amazing.
great craftsmanship. So thank you
Absolutely.
Aw.
so much.
Thank you so much, Lena.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I'm just so lucky to share this. So thank you. Thanks for getting in touch, and yeah, it's been great talking to you guys.
Awesome. We
It's
wish
been
you
our
all the
pleasure.
best.
Yes, great success. Thank you once again to our sponsor for this episode, the Fletcher Group. Be sure to contact them for all your real estate needs using the information in the show notes. And thank you for listening.